I have been meditating for more than 500 days now. By far, this has been one of the most valuable and life-changing habits that has completely transformed my life. I was a different person before I was meditating, and now I am a completely different person. In this video, I want to show you and I want to tell my story on why did I start meditating in the first place, what made me so consistent, and how can you incorporate meditation in your life today. So I conducted a survey recently in which I asked expats in Estonia about their biggest struggles and pain points when they came to Estonia. Almost 50% of the people said that mental health and loneliness were the biggest issues for them. But why? Why is mental health and loneliness such a huge issue, especially for expats? When I first came to Estonia, it was a struggle, but it wasn't a mental health struggle in the very beginning. It took me 2 years to finally realize that my mental health was really starting to get affected. The first 2 years were just simply acknowledging, okay, find a place, get a resident permit, fulfill all the documentation, all the paperwork and everything, then slowly get settled. It is only when all the outside things have finally settled and you have a breathing room that you finally start to realize that your mental health is getting affected. Now, why is it that? Well, simply one of the very few reasons is that all our environment has changed. Like all the people we know are away, all the family is away, all the food that we grew up accustomed to is changed, all the weather that we are used to is different, people are different, all the environment has become different, but the effects of all this deterioration, all this change are not evident to us because it takes time for the mind to show the true effects of how it is. This is one thing that we will take up later in this video as well, how the effects of mind are delayed. It was in the third year that I finally started to feel the effects of my mental health, and I started to see, okay, maybe I need to try some different things. By the 6th year, it had become a really big issue. When I say a really big issue, I mean a really big issue. It was a clinical diagnosis where I had to go to a doctor and I was prescribed medicine. And at that time, I realized that I really need to take charge of this, that I really need to take care of my mind and make sure that this doesn't happen again. At that time, I started to take meditation. Now, I had been meditating before as well, but it wasn't really a consistent habit. But I had heard about meditation from many different places. It was a habit that many different people talk about. There are many different kinds of meditation and all that. And I tried a few things before settling in on one thing. What really is meditation and why should you do it consistently? The reason why I became so consistent with meditation is because I had seen firsthand the effects of what can happen when you don't do it. Here is what I meant by delayed effects of the mind. Let's say you are starting to meditate, right? You start from day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 30, day 40. By the time the day 40 arrives, only then you will start to see the effects of meditation on your life. You will be more calm, you will be more gentle, you will not be agitated as easy, things will be much more open to you, and you will have a sort of energy around you that people will start to notice. If you stop doing meditation, like for example on day 40, you decide that I don't want to do meditation anymore, and you drop it completely, then you will see that the effects of meditation still linger on for the next 20 to 30 days. Even though you're not doing it, we're still seeing the good effects of that. And that is where the trouble begins, because when we start to do meditation, we start seeing good things and we postpone it, and then we are still seeing the good things happen around. And this is where the problem comes in, because we are fooled that we have incorporated meditation in our life and we don't need it anymore. That is the thing that I realized many different times. I started meditation, I finished it, and then something came up. Now it's important to get into the real nitty-gritty of what meditation is. Now, unfortunately, in the Western culture, meditation has been commoditized. Like there are many different kinds of meditation, and there are so many different ways in which people are creating their own methods and all these things. Now, if you are a complete beginner at meditation, that you have never tried it before any time in your life, then there are 2 resources that I would recommend to you. The first one is the Sam Harris Waking Up app. Now, this app is quite good. You can get it for free if you email to Sam and then you ask them for a scholarship, and if you can't afford it. I have been using the app mainly because of the timer, but I really do think that some of the guided meditation in there are really good for the beginners, although I felt at times that they can be a little bit too difficult for somebody who's just starting. The second thing that I would even highly recommend than Sam Harris's Waking Up app is this book called The Mind Illuminated. fascinated. Now, this is really amazing. It's like a complete encyclopedia about how to start meditation and how to go ahead with it. What are the different stages of meditation and what kind of benefits can you expect? And this really helped me in the beginning in understanding and inculcating the knowledge about meditation and how to perform it. A very important thing about all these things is that meditation itself is simply doing nothing. The definition of meditation is quite simply you are doing nothing. It's the opposite of all the things that we do in our life when we are going to work, when we are doing homework, when we are doing chores, when we are doing everything else in our life. We are doing, but meditation is simply not doing anything. Meditation is the art of observing, and at the end, not even observing, but not doing anything. It's simply the completeness, the cessation of action, and just finding the very core of who we are. What are we? In the beginning of meditation, one of the first big problems that you will face is just thoughts, and these thoughts will not stop at all. Like, these thoughts will keep coming and coming and coming, and eventually it takes a lot of practice and mindfulness to understand where the thoughts are coming from and how can we in a way just detach ourselves from our mind and our thoughts, because in effect we are detached from our minds. We are not just our minds at all. We can detach ourselves from the minds and just observe our thoughts, how they are moving into the space and how they're coming and they're going and how randomly they come up because of various stimuli and how they're not simply in our control, sort of like clouds in the sky, that they are just coming and they're going, and we don't pass any judgments on what color the sky is right now or what shape the cloud is. And that's simply the same way how it is with our mind. Our mind is just clouded with different thoughts all the time, coming and going. And if we keep thinking that this is who we are, that the clouds and everything is just who we are, then you will be very agitated because these thoughts are not in our control, and you will always be subjected to what kind of thoughts you're having. So if you're having bad thoughts, you will be feeling bad. If you're having good thoughts, you will be feeling elated, and you will be consistently like a pendulum between these two things. Now, here is a very beginner meditation that you can do for 5 minutes, and that is what I would recommend if you're just starting. Step number 1, find a comfortable place. My recommendation would be to sit on the floor or sit out in the nature, whatever it is comfortable for you. And it doesn't matter what the posture is, but make sure that your spine is erect and make sure that you are comfortable. The second step is to close your eyes. Now, I find that it helps with concentration at first, but if you feel comfortable closing your eyes or if you feel opening your eyes, then by all means just try both of them. Step 3 is that we are going to listen to all the sounds around us. So first we are going to listen to all the different kinds of sounds that are happening outside of us. Maybe there are birds, maybe there are wind blowing through the trees, maybe there is the sound of people, everything around us. Just simply observe them, just pay attention to them step by step. We are not reacting, we are not passing any judgments, we are not using really our minds. I mean, thoughts will come out. If somebody is talking loud, you will feel a sort of agitation. Thing is that we are not going to resist any thoughts. We are not going to hold them there. If something comes up, if you feel agitation, great. Agitation comes up, you will see it coming up and then it will subside. The next step is going to be where we are going to put our attention to our breath. Now, there are 2 ways how this can happen. The first one is that you either concentrate or focus or put your attention on your nose, or if you are more comfortable with this, then you can put your attention on your belly, how your belly moves out and how your belly moves in according to your breath. Now, I have found that this is different for different people. Some people find that it is much easier for them to focus on their nose. Some people find it that it is more easier for them to focus on their belly. The next step is going to be that we are going to just simply observe the coming and going of the breath through our belly or through our nose. As you do this, you might start feeling different aches, you might start feeling different agitations, itching, and all these things, because all of these things are sort of like memories stored in your body that are starting to come out, and also because we are not used to sitting for so long. Once you pass this stage and once you are comfortable focusing on your breath, then one of the next problems that you might face is sleepiness, because most of our lives, when we don't have any external stimuli, when we're not doing anything, then we just tend to fall asleep. So at this stage, the most important thing for you would be to not fall asleep or not be drowsy, and that is where it helps if you are out in the cold. I do that, but I don't recommend it to you. But one thing you can also do is that if you're starting to feel drowsy in the middle of the meditation session, then you can just stand up and do the meditation, or you can go to the washroom and put some cold water on your face and then go back and then start and then resume your meditation. But this is a little bit of a higher stage. But that aside, the most important thing that you need to do in meditation is to cultivate a habit. Make sure that you find a time of the day that you are doing meditation, no matter what it is. I find it easier for me that once I've woken up, I have done my shower and exercise, then I do my meditation. For some people, it's easier in the morning. For some, it might be easier in the evening or the afternoon. Cultivate a habit. Start with 5 minutes and then slowly increase that, whatever you're comfortable with. But don't miss it, because once you start missing it, it will become a habit. As I said before, you will not immediately feel the effect of not doing meditation that day. It will only be very later, and then it will be much harder to go back, because the good effects of meditation also start coming very later. So this is the story of how I started meditation, how I became so consistent, and how it has simply changed my life. I mean, I'm much more comfortable, I'm much more confident, I'm not prone to anger anymore, I'm much more well observed, I don't forget things anywhere, I have much better attention. Perhaps most of all is that it makes you understand what is truly you in the very real sense. Once you are able to understand or simply observe your mind, you tend to realize that our mind is just a collection of different memories from past, from all the way back from older generation. It's just a collection of different memories and software and different algorithms that are just stored inside your head. But you are something beyond that. You are beyond just your mind. And this is something that you cannot explain. I cannot explain. It can only be experienced by yourself. And if you want to experience it, if you want to experience the kind of joy and fulfillment and the kind of easiness that you can just start doing it anywhere you are. Like if you are doing meditation and you are adept at meditation, then you can sit at the airport, you can close your eyes, and you can have the most beautiful and blissful moments at your command right here. You can do that. Every breath becomes a moment of joy or fulfillment and everything, like the kind of fulfillment you wouldn't even feel when you get the most prestigious award in the world. But yeah, this is very important, and the effects of meditation are such long-lasting and so important that if it were up to me, then I would teach it in school to everybody, to every kid. But yeah, that is just me. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you liked it, and I hope that you will practice meditation in your life. And if you have any questions, then you can just post them below in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel. I think not many people who are viewers of the channel are subscribed, but I would really appreciate if you do subscribe, so I know that people are watching and they appreciate what I do. Thank you, and take care, and bye-bye.